Chapter 998, Establishing Relations. With dark blue eyes, Conas Kilgore, who had crew-cut hair which was seldom seen among members of high society, held a cup of champagne as he walked up to Dwayne Dance. He said with a smile, "You had great luck today. You also had plenty of courage." 1. If he's referring to me immediately folding after receiving a bribe, with me rather losing a big blind, that's not luck but knowledge. As for the other times, playing cards with all of you has pretty much drained all of Anuni's recently accumulated good luck. Klein swirled the cup with pale golden alcohol in his hand and said with a laughing sigh, "For a person who doesn't care about the outcome, there's naturally nothing to fear." "Ha ha," praised the lady. He was using a loan-style euphemism to indicate that he was mainly here to lose money and that his good luck was all thanks to the blessings of a deity. It had nothing to do with himself. Conas hadn't lost much tonight, approximately 1 to 200 pounds. Although this was already a considerable amount when compared to his purported salary to a brigadier general deputy director of MI9, a hidden demigod, his salary was the most trivial part of his income. Therefore, he didn't mind it. He shook his head with a smile. Humans often have no way of seeing through the arrangement of fate. "You are an interesting person. It's a pleasure to meet you." His final sentence was both a form of praise and also a part of the formalities. It indicated that their conversation was over. However, Klein had acted all night to acquaint himself with this demigod of the Black Emperor pathway, so how could he give up? He first replied, "It's my pleasure as well." Then, he asked in a seemingly random manner, "Your Excellency, are you familiar with the manors in the backland suburbs? It's best if they come with forests for hunting." According to the information Klein had received from Miss Justice, Conas Kilgore didn't enjoy holding banquets, balls, or saloons at his place. Neither did he accept invitations on such matters. It was unknown if it was a problem with his character or due to his job. He had very simple hobbies. First, he enjoyed smoking cigars, especially Chieftain cigars from East Balam's Mycontrek, recognized as the best cigars in the world. Second, he enjoyed playing cards, especially Texas Hold'em. Third, he enjoyed hunting. He often headed to the backland suburbs during autumn and winter. He even headed to Awa County or East Chester County for hunting. Klein was already planning on buying a manor, an expenditure meant solely to integrate himself into high society. He hadn't made any decisions yet, but after meeting Conas Kilgore today, he suddenly added this request in a bid to garner his interest. When the time came, he could even invite this MI9 deputy director to hunt in the suburbs over an enjoyable weekend. He could then seek out an opportunity to take action. Conas Kilgore drank a mouthful of champagne and said after some thought, "I'll help you take note of it. If there's anything suitable, I'll send someone over. Birkeland Street, right? Yes, someone will inform you there." "Thank you very much," Klein earnestly replied. At the same time, he pitied his former valet, Richardson, who had now become an assistant butler. This young man who wished to better himself recently went out early in the morning and returned late at night. He had been gathering information about manors in backland suburbs, filtering out those that met the requirements and the ones which were on sale. He had been personally visiting them in a bid to list down options which were all flawless. He didn't wish for his employer to spot something he fancied only to find out that it wasn't for sale, or that the actual conditions were far worse what was described. And after Klein suddenly changed his request, all the work that Richardson had done was undoubtedly made useless. The all-evil Party A in contracts always changes their requirements and requests. "Yes, after this is done, I'll get Tanja to raise his annual salary by £5. As an assistant butler, he should naturally earn more than his time as a valet. £5. It was gone in just 1 or 2 raises in today's game. Richardson's annual salary is only enough to play a few rounds of Texas Hold'em." Klein sighed inwardly when he sensed eyes looking at him. He directly looked back and realized that it was Admiral Amirius Revelt. This old-fashioned and stern middle-aged man nodded gently and retracted his gaze. He had no intentions of communicating with Dwayne Dance, nor did he get anyone to arrest this unaffiliated beyonder. After all, he was considered a working partner of the military, and it wasn't rare for a merchant, an adventurer with wide connections, to be able to obtain a potion. At this moment, Colonel Calvin and Member of Parliament, Mact, walked over to Dwayne Dance with wine glasses in hand. "What happened?" Calvin asked with an exasperated and suppressed voice. As Dwayne Dance had won nearly £1,000, he and Mact had to change their strategies to prevent Admiral Amirius from losing any money. They went from a tight strategy to an unrestrained one. They felt quite the pinch from losing several £100s each. As such, adding to everyone's losses, Admiral Amirius had won a total of nearly £300. With regards to this, Klein spread his hands. "I didn't even look at my whole cards." In between the lines, he meant that this was simply the blessings of some deity that controlled luck. At the moment, the deities, angels, and secret existences who had authority in the fate domain included, but were not limited to, the Evernight goddess, the Fool, Snake of Mercury Will Ossiptin, Pallas Zarost, Blasphemer Ammon, and Snake of Fate Ouroboros. "This is really such a vexing matter," Mact said with a bitter smile while shaking his head. "Calvin and I don't even dare to return home after what we've lost." They had roughly lost about half their purported annual income. Dwayne Dance, with grayed sideburns, revealed a surprised look. "When did you guys lose?" He then pointed at the pile of chips at his seat. "I just happened to retain the £1,000 I bought in at the beginning. The rest are yours, isn't that so?" 1. Calvin and Mact were taken aback as they exchanged looks. Then, they revealed smiles. "We must have counted wrongly due to the anxiety." Calvin gave an approving nod. Klein laughed and immediately changed the topic. He then began looking at supper that was placed on the coffee table beside him. City of Silver, in the spire of one of the Twin Towers. Derek Berg once again met the chief of the six-member council, Colin Iliad. "You said that you have something you would like to ask me about." Colin, who had quite a number of old scars on his face, calmly asked the youth who wasn't considered too tall. Derek bowed and replied frankly, "Yes, Your Excellency. In the advancement for Priest of Light, I need pure darkness, but once I do it, it will be extremely dangerous. I'm wondering if there are any solutions." Colin Iliad listened seriously before nodding. "You have to confirm one point. Is it pure darkness or darkness with zero light? These two concepts are very different. If it's the latter, you can obtain that in the Spire's underground dungeons. You've been there for some time, so you should know what I'm talking about." Derek had a deep fear for the Spire's dungeons because it was there that he first met Blasphemer Ammon. Not only did he see the former captain of the expedition team, but he had even been parasitized. Unless it was necessary, he really didn't wish to recall it. At this moment, after receiving the chief's reminder, he began to slowly jolt his memories. He discovered that, under the spire, although each cell was given candles, one would have to wait for the guards to deliver food and medicine and ask for more once they finished burning. This didn't happen frequently, with it happening only thrice a day with the gaps in between being very long. And in such an environment, phenomena like the appearance of monsters and the vanishing of humans never appeared. Derek recalled that he had been in darkness with zero light for some time, without encountering any danger. He pondered for a moment and hesitantly said, "The darkness with zero light at the bottom of the spire has external powers involved." It was this power that prevented the darkness from making people disappear or producing monsters. Colin Iliad looked at the two swords that were hung up in a cross-like fashion on the wall. He looked up and sighed. "Yes, that's why it's called darkness with zero light, not pure darkness." Derek frowned slightly as he tried to recall. After a few seconds, he said without certainty, "If that's the case, the darkness outside the spire's basement isn't pure darkness as well. In many historical records, the nights before the Dark Ages didn't make people vanish or produce monsters. Now, the darkness must have undergone an abnormal change or had some other forces mixed into it to turn it dangerous." "Not bad. For you to make such connections shows that you've improved. Therefore, let me ask you again. Do you need pure darkness or darkness with zero light?" Colin's light blue eyes revealed a hint of surprise. Could it be that pure darkness only exists outside the forsaken land of the gods? Derek turned gloomy before he pumped himself up. "Your Excellency, I'm not too sure either. I'll take some time to confirm this." He believed that the experienced and strong Mr. Hanged Man, Mr. World, and the other members of the Tarot Club could give him a good solution. Colin Iliad didn't ask further as he said with a nod, "Go on then." Once you reach Sequence 5, even if you aren't able to become a demigod for a long period of time, you will have the chance of wielding certain sealed artifacts. 1. Backland Hilston Burrow, Zia, changed into a brown jacket and wore a cap, pretending to be a very ordinary short man. She had officially taken the commission and had begun tailing and investing the gentleman named Ernst Boyar. There were also a few other bounty hunters who participated in this mission. Ernst Boyar lifted his top hat and pointed his cane forward as he instructed the carriage driver. To St. George Burrow. It was southeast of Backland, separated from East Burrow by the Tussock River. Once he got on his carriage and took his seat, Ernst sniffed. He looked out the window and suddenly grunted. As a sanguine viscount, how could he not have discovered the clumsy bounty hunters tailing him?